One more round, girl. Let the Boy Scouts hear you. One for your mother and two for your teachers and three for the pretty boys in a row. One for the money and two to get ready and three. Now you're ready and four to go. Let's go!
Today, the greatest women gymnasts compete for the all-around title at the World Cup Gymnastics Championships.
Really go! Let's go!
High above the picturesque communes of Brussels, Belgium, giant antique clocks keep pace with a part of the city that recalls a romantic past. The sound of horse-drawn carriages on cobblestone streets and gondola rides on scenic canals call up images of another era. Even today, two of Belgium's most sought-after treasures are reminiscent of its history. In great demand are items made of carefully hand-woven lace and expertly cut diamonds. However, in the modern part of Brussels, next to the landmark structure of the 1958 World's Fair, a group of elite women gymnasts from all over the world have come to take part in the World Cup Gymnastics Championships. Today in the exhibition hall, those who have already proven themselves in Olympic and World Championship competition will vie for the most coveted title in gymnastics, the all-around.
Hello, I'm Donna De Verona, and this is the most prestigious event leading up to the World Championships, which will take place in Indianapolis in September. ABC Sports will be there. The focus of this competition is individual performance, and to explain, our Olympic expert, gold medalist, Bart Connor.
Now, Donna, as you mentioned, this is an individual competition only, and typically in a team event, the team competes as a group, and the scores tend to build. The judges get caught up in the momentum of a very deep team. The gymnasts here are competing unprotected, and it's a very exclusive group. There are only 19 gymnasts representing 13 different countries. It's certainly the best against the best.
You think about the best of the best, you got to think at the World Championships in 1989, and it was a different world. The Berlin Wall stood. Well, now East and West Germany compete as one team, and the revolution sweeping Eastern Europe certainly has had an impact. How that will affect the competition here is a question I'm going to ask ABC expert and Olympic medalist Kathy Johnson. Kathy?
Well, Donna, there are some changes evident, but many things are still the same. The Soviets are still dominant, with reigning world champion Svetlana Boginskaya the favorite here, if not the sentimental favorite, since there's been talk about her retirement. Her greatest competition will be her teammate, Tatjana Lysenko, and the Chinese, who I feel are the closest to the Soviets at this point, if they can stay consistent. The Romanians, who have been hit hardest by the political changes in their country, seem to be putting at least some of the pieces back together because they fielded two of their strongest gymnasts here.
And how about the Americans?
The Americans, Brandy Johnson and Sandy Woolsey, who finished 7th and 8th at the last World Championships, are really very well liked by the international judges here. They have had some troubles in the past competitions and with injuries, but the slate is clean now. All they have is the reputation they've earned at the World Championships.
The women's all-around will be contested on 4 apparatus: the vault, the uneven bars, the balance beam, and the floor. And after the first rotation, 1988 Olympic gold medalist in this event, the vault, Svetlana Boginskaya, whose future participation in the sport could well depend on her performance here, is in a tie. And that's with Hungary's leading gymnast, 16-year-old Henrietta Anodi. Anodi has begun this competition in a confident way by performing a lifetime best in the vault to put her in a tie with the sentimental favorite, Boginskaya. So the standings after the first rotation are, in a tie for first, Svetlana Boginskaya and Henrietta Anodi. In third, Spain's Eva Rueda. In fourth, and look for her to move up, Tatjana Lysenko. And in eighth, Brandy Johnson. Coming up, Boginskaya on the uneven bars, but first some insight from one who's given her life to gymnastics.
I love gymnastics very much, and I don't know how I would live without it. I don't know how I would exist without gymnastics, because it means so much to me.
She has won Olympic gold and the world and European all-around titles, but there are thoughts of retirement. We ask what you would miss most.
I guess it's the feeling of the podium. When I step on this competition floor, I get a feeling I could never experience anywhere else.
And now Boginskaya on the apparatus she fell on in the Goodwill Games, which cost her the title.
Svetlana does 2 release moves in this routine, which is more than adequate at this level. The first is a reverse hecht, done very nicely. She sets up for her second release move, nice high ginger, Little trouble on that transition down to the low bar. Not quite the amplitude she usually has. Watch this. This is a beautiful stylization. Nice split on top of the high bar. Dismount. A double pipe dismount. Oh, low on the landing and a step forward. That will be the deduction in this routine.
Bart, let's take a look at that again.
What's so terrific about Boginskaya is her style. This toe-on, toe-off is a fairly common move, but the way she does it with that full split really shows off her elegant lines. Now, she slung out the dismount a little bit, and because of that, she was shorter rotation.
Yes, and traveling on that dismount did cost her score a 9.825. Up next, America's favorite, Brandy Johnson. She's also had trouble in the past on the unevens and just recently developed a new routine.
This should be very exciting for Brandy. As you just said, this is a new routine for her. She's added a new element, a new combination. You'll see right at the beginning of the routine. Giant swing to half pirouette. Now watch this front giant right into her reverse hack. Beautiful height. She's moving very smoothly. This also has been a weak event for Brandy at times, but this is dynamite so far. And a tuck double back, dismount, perfect landing.
This is the new move that Kathy was talking about. It's a front giant, and she does a pirouette at the top, and then continues through her release move. Excellent height and perfect form. Coming up here is a transition, a straddle back to the low bar. The judges require the gymnast to work both bars, and that transition was smoothly done.
And it's a solid, fluid routine for Brandy Johnson, a satisfying moment for her, and her score a 9.850. Coming up, event co-leader Henrietta Anodi on the uneven bars. Rotation, Hungary's Henrietta Anodi. Only 16 years old, she's 4 feet 9 inches tall and weighs about 66 pounds, and no doubt is perfectly proportioned for this sport. The walls of Henrietta Anodi's bedroom are covered with the faces of the stars she adores, and at such a young age, she too has become a star. Fan mail has arrived from around the world, with many wondering what she's like away from gymnastics.
I don't know. You'll have to come to my home and see for yourself.
Home is Becky Saba, a city of 70,000, about 100 miles from Budapest. It's called the Storm Corner of Hungary because of its tradition of opposition, and its people have once again raised their voices, this time to herald the arrival of a new star. Henrietta started gymnastics at the age of 5, but in the early years she was set apart not by her ability, but rather by her size. At the age of 9, her potential was spotted by her current coaches. They have been inseparable ever since, and she has become more of a daughter than a pupil. Together, she has become the greatest female gymnast Hungary has known in Anodi's lifetime. Every aspect of Henrietta's life is orchestrated so she can reach her potential as a gymnast. While others do their exercising at school, she receives special tutoring in a class of 2 to maximize the limited time set aside for her studies. Her curriculum, math, economics, and English.
No, I don't feel that I'm a special person at all. All these things were arranged this way to harmonize training with all the other everyday activities.
The true harmony in Henrietta's life can be found at home, where she lives with her father, Janos, and her mother, Katalin. While many gymnasts in the Soviet Union or the United States leave home to reach their potential, she's been fortunate to find the perfect training environment at home, an advantage that ultimately may be the reason for her success. Anodi may be one of Hungary's most decorated athletes, but in many respects, she's like an average 16-year-old living at home and attending school. And in at least one way, she's even like an average 16-year-old American.
My favorite groups in New Kids on the Block.
And now Henrietta Anodi, the co-leader, up for one of her best events.
She really is a very impressive gymnast. She has a greater variation of difficult skills than most of the gymnasts here, and unique transitions. Watch this mount. Free hip right to a full pirouette. And this is an example of the unique transition I was talking about. A little hop, full turn right to the high bar. It was her first release move. Not as high as it should be. And her second is a Jaeger front. Again, the amplitude or the height from the bar is not quite as big as some of the other gymnasts. Here's where she really excels. Front giant, right to a back giant, full pirouette, nice form, tuck double back dismount, good landing.
So she'll need a 9.837 to take the lead.
Although the release moves aren't terribly high, the best part of her routine comes right here. Pirouette from the front giant. Here comes a full pirouette on top from the back giant. Those will gain her a terrific amount of bonus points.
And you can see why she was third in the all-around at the Goodwill Games. Anodi scored 9.875. She's the current leader. But this is one to watch over on the balance beam. A bright spot on the Soviet team, Tatiana Lysenko.
She does one of the most difficult mounts on the balance beam. A round off on the board into 3 layout somersaults. 1, 2, little off on that second one, so she opted not to do the third. Still extremely difficult. Beautiful leap, showing the amplitude, showing the full split in the air. Back handspring to 2 layout step outs. Very nicely done. Judges are looking for the difficult tumbling passes, like the one she just performed. There's an aerial walkover, slight balance break there. That was one of the special requirements on the balance beam, combining acrobatic elements with dance. Back tuck, kick out, right to a straddle down.
Her technique is so precise.
Full turn, also another requirement on the balance beam. She's preparing for the dismount. Competition very close. She's looking for a stuck landing. Double back. Very nicely done. As in most world competitions, the scores are so close that every half a tenth of a point and every tenth of a point counts. So they go for those stuck landings. Right here, she does her mount. 2 layout step outs. You can see she's a little off. Of course, that will be a slight deduction.
Notable composure for a 15-year-old. Lysenko earns a 9.887, which places her in second. Henrietta Anodi holds on to the lead, but noticeably absent the Romanians, hardest hit by the changes in Eastern Europe. We'll be back with China's Yang Bo on the beam. Indeed, China Cup all-around champion, Yang Bo is an only child and has trained away from home since she was 6.
And this is the way balance beam should be done. The Chinese are exquisite on this event. They show perfection in movement. Everything is picture perfect. One arm back handspring to layout step out. Full twisting, back handspring, swing down. That is amazing. Aerial front walkover to a scale, right into a walkover. They have beautiful choreography and choice of movement.
And posture.
Now that right there would pass most people's eye, but it is extremely difficult. She does a leap and looks back and arches. 2 layout step outs. This is one of the best beam routines I've ever seen done so far by anyone.
Remember last year at the World Championships in the finals, the routine was going just like this. She had trouble on the dismount.
Here it comes. Round off, double back. Perfect. If I were a judge, I honestly, at this, I would give it 10. I saw absolutely no deduction whatsoever. It was one of the most beautifully choreographed routines ever done.
Now, although this move coming up is called a Rofova, Soviet Yelena Shushinova really popularized it by performing it in the '88 Olympics. Here it comes.